Update. My own friend convinced my husband that I cheated on him. He kicked me out of our house, and now she finally said she lied. Original post. I, 25 female, don't even know where to start because I'm devastated. She, 25 female, and I were best friends for over 10 years before all this happened. She was my sister, my friend, the person I trusted the most. But to her, I was never anything. Because if I had meant something to her, she wouldn't have stabbed me in the back just because I married a man she wanted. And this is important because she did all this for that very reason. 8 years ago, we met my husband, 29 male, at college. We were in our first year, and he was the assistant of one of our professors. The three of us became very good friends until he and I started dating. At that time, she never told me that she had feelings for him, so I never questioned my relationship with him. During all these years, I trusted her with very important things about my husband and myself. The last thing was the most important thing that I ever told her, and that was that I'm pregnant. I even told her before I told my husband, because I took the pregnancy test while I was with her because I trusted her with my whole life. And when the test came back positive, we both cried because it was a planned baby. She seemed so happy that my chest hurts knowing that all of that was fake. 6 months have passed since that day and my husband started acting weird. He was always mad at me for absolutely no reason, until I had enough and confronted him. He told me he's mad at me because he knows the truth. I asked him what he was talking about, and he showed me all the infidelity evidence he has. They were chats from a dating app between a man and me, and I use quotes because I never created that account. Someone else did and used my photos that I never posted and that I only have on my phone. So it is impossible that someone has stolen them from my social media. In those chats, I told this man that I was pregnant and that I didn't know if it was his or my husband's. In those chats, I even talked to that man about recent intimate encounters while I was pregnant, and things like that no husband or wife wants to read about their partner. I told my husband that everything was fake, and that I wanted to know where he got those screenshots. And he told me that they are screenshots of my old phone, a phone that I supposedly used to talk to other men. He told me that my best friend told him everything because she couldn't look him in the eye knowing the truth. Apparently, she knew about my infidelities and told him to look for evidence in my old phone, and he did. And that's why he was acting weird the last few weeks. Of course, I told him that my friend is lying, and that she probably used my phone without me knowing to do that. That I never created any account and that I never slept with another man other than him in my whole life. But he didn't believe me. We had a fight, and we called her to confront her. But all she said was that she was sorry, but that she no longer wanted to keep lying to one friend to save the other's butt. We had a horrible fight, but she was calm as a freaking psycho, insisting that I'm a cheater. And I couldn't convince my husband that it's all a lie because the evidence indicates that I'm guilty. So he was furious and told me to pack my stuff and get out, and that he wanted a divorce and a paternity test. I went to my mother's house and we did a paternity test, which obviously indicates that the baby's his. But still, he didn't believe me that I didn't cheat on him. We had a few more fights after we did a paternity test, and I ended up in the hospital because of the stress. And apparently that made my so-called friend see reason, because she told my husband that everything he saw was fake, and that it was she who made both accounts, mine and that of the man I was supposedly cheating on him with. She said that she did it because she was jealous because since I'm pregnant, he doesn't pay attention to her anymore. She is very good friends with both of us since we met him, and that she lost her mind and acted in the worst way possible. She also said that now she's really sorry, that she never thought all this would go this far, and that she thought he'd just get mad for a few days and then forgive me because she knew that he loves me too much to forgive me anything. Since she confessed all that, he apologized in 1,000 ways, and we've talked a lot about what happened. And we have decided to give ourselves the space we need, and we will start going to therapy, but I don't know if that will be enough. Our relationship is at its worst. It's screwed up, and I'm afraid we can't work this out. And how could we? We said and did horrible things. During a fight, he told me to pack my stuff. I refused, and he took me by the arm to do it. And he was hurting me, so I pushed him and he hit a piece of furniture. And that's when he took me by the arms again. But this time he did it to shake me. But he is much stronger than me. Not only am I skinny compared to him, but he is also really tall. And when he did that, he really hurt me. And I don't know if we can be who we were in the past again. In the past, we almost never fought, and if we did, there was never any violence involved. How can we fix this, other than therapy? Now for the top advice. What a freaking psycho! This is a lot. The damage she inflicted over petty jealousy. How do you do something so deplorable to a person, let alone your best friends? People you claim to love, all while putting your friend's health and the health of her unborn child at risk. Just wow. This subthread never really shocks me, but this shocked me to the core. The evidence was so compelling from the husband's perspective, which makes it so sad. OP, if you're reading this, I hope both you and your husband give therapy a real shot. Don't let that witch win by jumping to divorce. It's so sad because it sounds like you had a healthy marriage before. I just hope that this is another hurdle you overcome and one that brings you closer in the end. And what about your husband and the ex-friend? Has he cut her out? And did she attempt anything with him while you were kicked out? Because if he's still talking to her in any capacity, that would be done for me. Yes, he blocked her from everywhere, and as far as I know, she never tried anything with him. Jesus, your friend is a psychopath. She didn't think it would go that far. The truth is, she wasn't ever that good a friend to either of you. Because if she was, she would have accepted that he is with you and moved on. Given the circumstances, I would think therapy is a must. I can't see how else you two would ever come back from this without a neutral party involved. And now for the update. Thank you all for the messages you sent me and the comments you left on my first post. I really appreciated it. Things have gotten a lot better since then. We talked to my now ex-friend, and she admitted to using my old phone to create that fake profile and also to message the other man. And I use quotes because that man never existed. It was her. She used that phone when she came to my house every day since we had a business together. She knew where the phone was, and she also knew that no one ever used it, so she had everything perfectly planned out, which is scary, because she really needs help. I mean, with all this, it is more than clear that she's a psychopath and needs help. She said all the things she did, and she had even told my husband that she drove me to meet that man so many times. And she told him that I made her pay with her card for the hotel where I met that man. And the truth is that I was never in any of those hotels. But all of that was right there, and it looked real, so of course he believed her. She has been my friend for many years, but she has also been friends with him for over 8 years. So we trusted her, and we never thought she would do something like that. And when she started telling me all those lies, it sounded real. In fact, the messages and everything looked very real. And I understand why my husband believed it. And if it had been the other way around, maybe he would have believed it too. On the other hand, my husband and I are still trying to cope with all this. After that violent episode, things got really hard between us. It is not easy to save a marriage once violence is involved, but we're trying. I came back home, and for now things are fine. But sometimes it's really warm here and I wear t-shirts, and he doesn't even want to look at me because I still have the bruises from his hands on my arms. And they don't look too bad now, but they're still there after almost 2 months of that episode. And I'm guessing they'll take a while to go away since I'm a very pale person and my skin is very sensitive. But my arms don't hurt anymore or anything like that, so I don't mind the bruises. He has apologized for what he did, and I forgave him because it was something that affected us both. And I understand that we both got violent and we're both guilty for screwing up our relationship. But like I said, we're still trying to get over it. And I guess it will take a while to get over it. It won't be easy, but we are willing to work hard so that everything will get better by the time our baby arrives in a few weeks. That's why we started individual and couples therapy, so we hope everything gets better. Now, we are focused on that. We're preparing her room and buying things for her. And for now, that's working. Our relationship is slowly getting back to how it was before. And I'm really happy about that because we've loved each other for 8 years. And the last thing I wanted was to throw away our relationship after all that time. Because I know how our relationship was, and I know that this was the first time that we both reacted like this. And we promised each other that it will never happen again, and we will do everything possible so that it does not happen again. So that's all. To put your relationship to the side, if you're still covered in bruises after almost 2 months, You really need to go see a doctor. That slow healing could be indicative of some larger health problem. If you're having some issues with, say, blood clotting, you want to have the doctors figure that out now, instead of while you were giving birth. Usually bruises clear up in a matter of 1 to 2 weeks. If you're still black and blue after around 8 weeks, that is something your doctor needs to know about ASAP. It doesn't really matter that you're pale. It also doesn't matter however embarrassed you might be when the doctors ask you what happened, and you have to confess your husband hurting you. What matters there is your body isn't able to adequately clear the hematoma after an excessive amount of time. That's important medical information right there. Take it to your doctor as soon as you possibly can. Because despite all the miracles of modern medicine, plenty of people still bleed out and die during childbirth. If your body isn't handling bleeding in a normal fashion, including bruises, that is very important for your doctors to be on top of. Talk to a lawyer. She can be held accountable for a lot of that, and you can get a little bit of justice out of it for her screwing your life up. Not sure if this applies where you live, but in many places this is harassment and defamation. I would even wonder about financial damages / effect of the distribution of business assets. Glad you're doing all the therapy. I hope you dissolve the business partnership too. I will. I'm talking to my lawyer about it. Now for the last story. Update. My 28 female boyfriend, 30 male, keeps hanging out with a girl he has feelings for. Original post. He said he's been trying to get over her since before me, and that he thinks that if he keeps trying, it'll go away. I told him it doesn't work like that, especially if we've already been dating 10 years, and he was already trying to drop his feelings for her before he met me. I feel like he's lying, and he truly just wants to keep his connection to her. He left to go hang out with her at 9 and it's now almost 4 in the morning for me. He told me it wouldn't come to this, and he wouldn't be out this long. He doesn't have a phone, so if I want to message him, I basically have to message her. He also refused to let me come along, even though her and I get along amazingly. She's made it clear she's not interested and already has a girlfriend. I've started packing my things because he hypothetically asked me what would happen if he didn't come home tonight, before he went out. I don't feel that there's anything left for me here. I made it clear that I don't think what he's doing is good for our relationship, but he wants anyway. All he can ever say is that it's not his intention to hurt me. I keep having to remind him that the intent doesn't matter if he knew the outcome would be hurting me. I need some help, support, and an exit plan. Now for the top advice before reading the update. He still thinks he has a chance with her, but is stringing you along as a backup. If the second she actually wants to go out with him, he will flat out dump you on the spot. You're better leaving because this isn't a healthy relationship. This is exactly what I've been thinking about. It's all based on her. If she moves, he will, regardless of what we've built together. Yes, you have no future with him because he doesn't want you. Sorry to say. Until he can get his head out of his behind and realize she doesn't want him, he can't have healthy relationships. I mentioned that to him as well, that this will continuously be a cycle unless he chooses to break it himself. All he cares about is staying close to her, even if it means they can only be friends. Well, back to packing. I really wish you well. In this instance, it was all on him. He ruined the relationship, not you. You deserve better and I hope you find it. Maybe someday. Thank you. And now for the update. I went to sleep and woke up to him cuddling me, which was very upsetting, especially after the night I've had. He came home around 5 a.m., a time he told me was only hypothetical and wouldn't really happen. We had a talk where I made it very clear that if this is how he loves me, then it's not the love I want anymore. He didn't want to tell me anything at all and just kept saying, I don't know, to every question I asked him. But if the situation were swept, he would need every detail. Matter of fact, I wouldn't have even been able to go. I packed the bulk of my belongings and have hidden them in easy-to-grab places. I've got 4 days left in my college course before I take my certification exam. I'm very glad he stayed out all night, because I've never felt this much love for myself since before meeting him. He knocked me down so many pegs that I forgot how much I was actually worth. and was willing taking scraps of love. This isn't even the worst that he's done, and we should have been over a long time ago. Hate that I'm just fully realizing it now, but I'm glad I did it all. It hurts, but not as bad as staying as someone's second choice. He probably won't even remember the conversation as he never does, but I'm done explaining it over and over again. The plan is to stick it out until the end of the week, take my certification exam, pack up all my stuff, and leave in the middle of the night. My sister lives in another city and already has a place for me to stay. Luckily, my mother is in town as well and plans on staying until I'm ready. I'm letting him keep his gifts, because once I'm gone, he won't have internet until he gets it himself. It's getting turned off and moved to where I'm going. I will also be taking his cell phone off my contract. I really didn't understand how much I paid for his life until I started disconnecting and removing everything a piece at a time. I just did it because I love him and wanted him to be taken care of. The time I spent gone last night was everything I needed to get my life together. He knows the best ways to guilt trip me, especially after going to counseling. I'm not going to keep doing this fight, and I'm the only one actually making progress. I have held him up and backed him up on so many things in life. I never expected to get to this point. Thank you to everyone who helped talk things out with me. I was so distraught that I couldn't even think or move. Definitely made it easier to keep pushing on. Everything is packed with my little library and PC setup. I don't even think he noticed when he came back, but I'm sure he'll be asleep all day, doing a once-over and finishing packing. My mother will be back later to pick up a few things at a time under the premise of just wanting to see her daughter. Mom is with a plan, and I'm loving it. For those of you who believe that we could have worked things out, we could have, but that takes the both of us being willing to do that, not just me. This isn't even everything, my guys. I know it may feel like an attack on men to you, but if I told you everything, you wouldn't feel that way. Trust me, I want it to work out too, but he has made it very clear that he would drop me if it meant keeping her, even just as a friend. If for any reason she told him they can't be friends because of me, I would be a hot potato, dropped on the floor, guts everywhere. Joke, but you get the picture. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. I feel like I'm finally about to get everything that I've ever wanted and needed, and I hope you do too.